You missed us, you sons of bitches.
They miss listening to good music
Yeah, I missed this.
because apparently they haven't been doing that since we've been gone either. There's been a whole lot of mid just going around for the past month.
It's been a little.
It's been
But
the
Nas did a thing.
midness has been in abundance.
Nas did a thing though, so I'm pretty happy about that.
You know, I saw that and I haven't partaken.
Oh, that was abrupt. I was trying to like slide this out. I probably should use that better. All right.
This guy. There you go.
It's been a month. All right, relax, everybody.
It's okay.
Some cobwebs.
They'll be fine. They will be fine. Whatever cobwebs that exist, they have been burned and dried and scorched.
In this fucking heat, I know they have.
They have.
It's 1,000 degrees outside in
Well,
the night.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's, you know what? Growing up, I like that though. I like depending on where you was. I remember going visit my grandma and my aunts in Arizona, and when you in a hot space like that, like there ain't no curfew because it don't get cold outside. It's hot as it was at 12. As long as you in the neighborhood and I know where you at, just enjoy yourself.
I think that's something I can get behind. Like when you said it, I wasn't gonna say Arizona, but I do think about like summers where like we spend like a lot of summers like in Texas or fucking Louisiana, and I know I might be by myself in this. I've had this conversation with like a few people before, but I don't know, like I get used to the humid shit far faster than this like dry desert heat. Absolutely. I don't know what the fuck it is, but like I just don't enjoy the just dry whatever, like that humid shit. I don't know. I think like I if you send me down there, right? You got on a good, I know I've done it in like 2 weeks. It's felt cool, but maybe the longest, maybe like 2-3 weeks. And I'm like, all right, I got it. I'm in here. I'm like, I give myself a couple weeks, like, and then I'm used to it. I hate the fucking heat out here. Like I'm be slamming that fucking air.
Yeah, I felt so. That's how I felt being in New Orleans for sure. Texas too, kind of, but for sure in New Orleans. Like I don't know, the moisture in the air makes me feel better. Like I'm hot and I'm sweaty, but I still feel fine. Whereas being hot here it just does not feel the same unless you closer to the water. If you closer to the water, it's different. But you know, out here, it's a little bit different.
Maybe it's like a dried out thing, because I feel like even though like everybody doesn't want to be damp, but something maybe about I don't know if anybody out there like is good on the science on this. If I'm way off or way on, tell us. But like if there's like humidity, I feel like some of the moisture, you need moisture in your body and
Absolutely.
water and shit. Like it might in a way replenish as opposed to just this dry ass shit. I'm like, I'm fucking depleted. You finna get heat stroke, headaches. You at UPS people falling out. Fucking yeah, y'all still ordering packages with shit you can't wear.
It's clothes that's gonna end up somewhere on the coast of Ghana.
That's
polluting the waters.
That's crazy. Killing these motherfuckers out here. I was parking here and I saw a girl and she just had to park her car in the street and like go to the apartment she was in front of. Like she couldn't even get to the one she needed to go to. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy, Amazon lady. Support to you though. Couldn't. I tried it. I did my FedEx run. Fuck man, support them niggas. They deserve all the money they get. Like the motherfuckers who make a career out of it, I have no qualms with them. I think they should get everything.
But the people that make a career out of it are the drivers, though.
Yeah,
I was in the warehouse, which is different.
Yeah, I did both, and I think everybody should get paid more. Like,
I definitely should get paid. I was unloading big ass trucks by my goddamn self.
That shit is, man, yo.
They're like, you big, strong, and you like lifted? Oh yeah, go in there and handle that by yourself.
And here's the thing: this is why you should support. I'm not gonna get on. I remember we like the whole thing about the bus drivers. So if y'all don't like bus drivers, you got to at least support your FedEx workers, drivers, and whatever. Because even when you on the fucking truck, you have to haul that shit off wherever. Because the motherfuckers, when you taking it to some of these fucking spots, they act like, okay, well, bitch, help me get this shit off. This is your shit, not mine. If you taking it to like a warehouse, something like that, and they don't care what it is if it's on your route. So you be like, oh, look at this. This is a whole box of T-shirts, lovely. And then somebody give you a fucking a goddamn axle for a fucking 18-wheeler. Why the fuck would you put this one long 3,000-pound thing on? Who's gonna pick this up? You, motherfucker. That motherfucker in the back of that truck. So,
Make sure you They had the nerve to have us do fucking stretch circles before our shift
I
started.
hated that shit so bad.
Make sure we stretch. Who's gonna lead the stretch today? I was like, I am not
And
on
then
nobody's. Well, I was on somebody's team, but still, like this ain't the team I get paid to play for. Why am I stretching before we? That ain't what this is.
yeah, you gotta support them people, yo, because then you gotta put it back if it don't make it on the truck. Now,
Right.
this motherfucker is sent down. You know, you dropping it off at a fucking auto shop. You got 8 sets of tires on this bitch. And you got to put them all with rims included. You got to
all
put
the way back.
you got to put all that shit back, and then know that when you come in the morning, they're gonna put you on that same line. You got to take that same shit. It's terrible.
Pain in the ass.
Yeah. So
Unload the entire truck, and then go down the belt and help the driver load theirs up. So now I'm unpacking and repacking the same shit
yeah, yo.
in the same day.
Support your shit. FedEx, UPS, them DHL niggas. I don't really know what they do, but I've seen them like, you know,
They out here.
they out here. You support the people.
Well, we can talk about the biggest one because Amazon for sure ain't kicking up no bread.
Support the people, because Amazon crazy, because they be having them up. That girl was out there in like a Prius, like, and I'm like, I know that shit was like up to the fucking nth degree, just drop. That's crazy. Yeah, the way people talk about, you know what's crazy? A crazy place that tells you all the shit and news you didn't think you needed to hear. TikTok.
Oh, absolutely.
When I'm fucking flying through TikTok thinking it'll be some funny shit, it'd be like funny. And TikTok's algorithm is quick. So you like one, like I think I liked one thing that was like, yeah, you know, like the I don't know, man. It was something about like the government or like, you know, wages aren't fair. 7 things that like deep dives on capitalism. And I was like, whoa, nigga. Like,
people get paid to just sit there and expose their version of the truth to this shit. So
and they be over there on TikTok taking a motherfucking time. Part 2 in the fucking description. Like, and it's, you fuck around and sit there for 10 minutes on one motherfucker who just.
But that's social media, especially TikTok. I look at it like it's the new drop shipping. Like people are getting made for just creating some shit out of shit that already exists.
That's true.
So they're going to spend a lot of time just doing that with the hopes of making some money off of it.
Yeah, I think that's one thing where like I still like it because there's, you know, obviously everybody got a new fucking term, and I know I'm in the field of terms, so it sounds fucking ridiculous, but it's like, you know, don't doom scroll, hyper learn or whatever. So to be honest, I guess I'm a fan of hyper learning, whatever the phrase is. I know but whatever it is, you can literally say whatever the fuck you want. But I like the people who I think make the content for that. And I know that they probably are somebody who's already up and or already got their shit together, or they have a real career. It'd be the ones who like are already doctors in the field, or I'm on TikTok to really explain information, and they be shooting that shit out quick, fast. Here are the facts. Here's the pros and cons. It's the ones that ought to be like, we're gonna explain. You didn't need to talk that much. You could have really cut this to the T. Bing, 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 and got it out.
They're trying to drown it out. It's funny that you saying that our field is the E40 of terminologies.
Man,
We just be making up all kind of shit and turning it into actual language.
yeah, I mean, like, you know, you gotta. I mean, that's something to eat, because, you know, I'm not opposed to inclusivity, but man, that just mean like even if you're not with the term, you have to at least play with the term before you go, all right, that's stupid. Like if something is said, you have to kind of flesh it out a little bit. Whereas, you know, some of you motherfuckers, I don't know, somebody is like a marketing major there, or I don't know, business manager, they could just say, fuck you, it's stupid. It's dumb as fuck. You.
Do you have to play around with it?
Okay, I was having a conversation about this, and about what that looks like in this field of being, because there's I guess a image or like a rhetoric where you just are captain or queen or they them, you know, you're the most accepting motherfucker on earth, and nobody kind of addresses that, like, you know, you address it like when we're in our own private circles, when we're actually doing the work, but like presentation wise online, like there's not always a lot of conversation. I haven't seen it. It might be out there of like, no, this is dumb. Like, this is not something we would make. This doesn't make sense. This is not that. Like, really just and I know, you know, you don't want to get, I don't know, like canceled, or you don't want to whatever, but I do feel like that's like part of it. Cause like you see a lot of like people that are kind of like, you know, saying all the foofy stuff, and I'm I love calling it foofy. But like when you talk to people in person, it's like, well, no, you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't acknowledge that. There's pushback. I just always like acknowledging like there's a giant amount of pushback in this field, and like the aesthetics of this field is not necessarily the truth of it.
So, being somebody that clearly you and I have to understand both sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you get tired of having to advocate and educate when it comes to the other side's perspective? No matter who you're coming across, like, do you get moments where it's just like, I don't feel like explaining to y'all the ins and outs of how our field classifies, explains, states, and all this other stuff, the thing that we are discussing right now? Or are you okay with, like, diving into those conversations?
I'm okay with it when, you intuition, use your discernment. When I feel like the conversation is productive, like it's one thing from like you don't know and you are uneducated, so this might be a space where I can teach in a space that, well, if I know a thing or two, or I can give you a perspective that I have and I've seen it like this or blah, blah, blah. And somebody may go, oh, okay, I never even thought of it. When I'm catching that, oh, you trying to, all right, nah, I don't. Like if you see it's dumb, like okay, like I'm gonna use this for here. Like I talk a lot of shit on here. It's a lot of stuff on the pod, and I'll engage with y'all to a point. But also, I'm not going back and forth about some shit that I know what I'm talking about. Like some shit, if I, then that's some to a certain degree. Like I know what I know, and then to my discretion, I'm not going back and forth when it's like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, or you just kind of want to like argue and get your shit up. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. Is that, or when you see somebody like, what's that phrase? Like when they have their opinion has them, they don't have an opinion. So it's like you're just running with a thing, and you don't. And I can't reason with you when the conversation, like I feel like, is leaving the realm of like, oh, you're not having a reasonable response, not agreeing with me, but what I said was reasonable. What I'm doing right now, like I'll talk a lot, like so. I got my points together, this, and this. Now we can have a conversation about it. If you just said some shit and I'm like, oh, I ain't even say that. That's not the.
Yeah.
You missed the context altogether. Oh, yeah, we might not should have this conversation.
Yeah, I can pretty much share the same regard. Like, that's where my patience gets thin. When I recognize that your comprehension isn't up to par enough to have a sensible conversation, whether you agree or disagree, if we just can't have a reasonable, sensible conversation, I'm not in a swinging dick contest with you. Like I'm not having this conversation with you to argue the point that what I study and what I have to use in my field is correct. Clearly it's correct. It's written. There's books on it. There's studies on it. There's governance around it to where we have to utilize it in the field. So I'm not arguing this point with you, trying to prove that I'm right. I'm just simply having a conversation with you to share different perspectives and help you find a middle ground and be able to share multiple perspectives. If I can't do that, because like you said, the point has them, my point is right, period. And if you're not agreeing with me, then this whole conversation is wrong, and I'm going to keep going until you concede. I'm not about to argue and go back and forth with you. Now, I will ask, has that affected relationships that you've had with people?
Yeah, I would say yes. All together, yes. Now, I haven't always gone to the extreme of like, even though this is probably a group that I antagonize a lot. I'm gonna say like, the quote memes and shit. Like, I cut them off and da 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 da. I might not do all that shit, but like, I will kind of go, oh, this is a person that I just can't engage with like that. Or, because I know one of my triggers, I'm like, are you fucking with me? Because once we having a casual conversation and you keep saying some weird, I'm like, are they fucking with me? Or are you
serious?
Yeah. So in that regard, I might not flat out just chop somebody off, but I definitely like just start, which is still not the best. It's not as I'll start, just boxing myself away. Like, oh, I can only give you this much, right, or we can only have this type of conversation. And I've had that across a number of like, relationships where it's like, we're super connected. We really not. But I'm almost maybe too nice of a person where I'm just like, or, that's my, I think, bad trait is like, I'll be cool with you. I'm not trying to treat you bad or whatever, but we've engaged enough. And I've had like in our conversations, I'm clocking how we interact. And that's not saying I'm super genius or whatever, but I'm clocking, oh, we can't communicate like over here. So I'm going to always keep us over here. We might have 50,000 over here conversations because you're cool. You're not a bad person, but we haven't really had no deep shit. That's how, one of my favorite lines here. That's how you have when the conversation's like, oh my God, we so connected. Tell me my middle name right now. Like I'm not gonna lie, that's a quotable. I've said, what's my middle name and my favorite color? Quick, fast. We really not. And that's, no disrespect. We just not.
Let me highlight a boundary that you are trying to ignore. But I could say the same concept. Like I've come into understanding, not even just because of political views or things of that nature. These conversations do kind of fall within political spaces, unfortunately, especially now because everything is being manipulated by politics and everything's a left or a right or a conservative or a woke or this or that. Everybody's trying to label everything so much that these topics get politicized, but it people's perception or understanding of it does help me understand the boundaries I need to draw with them. So kind of like, what you're saying, like I fuck with you, you cool, I got love for you, we friends or we boys or we whatever, but I can't engage with you within this realm because one, you ain't there, two, it's going to be triggering for me, and then that's going to end up causing some deterioration in our whatever the fuck this is supposed to be. So I'm going to just draw this. You see this line right here? You see the gun line, boss? Yeah, don't cross that.
So yeah, I guess my like personal, at least what I tell myself is a bit of trying to be a caveat is like, if you end up, because I feel like that's also a weird space where people kind of don't acknowledge, and you said the cutoff thing, you care about said individuals, you care about your family, you care about your uncle who's a super whatever his views are, and you just know you can't communicate with Unc in that space, but you kind of hold space that because you care about this person, maybe they'll like catch up to some perspective. Not even saying they need to agree with you, but like if you go, how you're saying this is dumb, we could have the conversation if you get here. And I think that sometimes that may drag some shit out too, because it's like they'll get there, but you can't drag them kicking and screaming. I know I definitely have gotten rid of that shit because that's exhausting.
Yeah,
that's just not my job. Like you could have. No, that's not my job.
Nah, that's capacity.
Because I'm big on that. If you, I've done it here. Like I've done it on the show. I've done it across. If you say some shit now, I'm like, whew, my dumb ass will take my shit to YouTube or somewhere. It might take me a while, but I'll go, oh, and then let me ask a question, and then we might not be able to have this conversation like next week, but maybe in like 6 weeks or so, I can give you some shit about it. Like we can, if you're not doing that, like I'm cool, and I'm cool like that. Like we talk again, and you ain't made no kind of oomph. All right, cool. I know where you at. I know where we at with it. You're cool. We're good.
So, like an unwillingness to understand the opposite side.
Yep.
So that makes a question come to mind of like, how much of our society do you think is governed by the inability to understand the other side?
All is heavy, but even like you just said, right and left, red and blue, this and that. We're not, black, black and white. Dichotomous thinking, mental health. There's not a lot of shades of gray, and you can pick. If you think about it, you can obviously pick. You're not saying you need to find whatever, but you can pick good and bad from either side of these things. But we are very much so. If it's like this, then it can't be like that, and not taking into account that everybody is a bit of everything and a piece of this and that. And I know everybody's spiritual, but y'all are liars. Y'all are not. And not saying you can't be, but y'all are not, because I listen to what y'all say. And I'm not even nobody who's like a super savant on it, but just the basic principles that these shits be saying is like, shit, I saw a little goofy ass Alan Watts video the other day. He had the little yin and yang thing. It was black and white photos. He just spun that bitch and did his explanation. If you believe that explanation, what you said don't make no fucking sense. So in a nutshell, yeah, I do believe a lot of people are on one side or another. That makes it very, very hard to have some of these conversations.
So how much of that would you say is like tailored or engineered or conditioned to where it's not that people have an inability to understand the opposite side, but they have been manipulated and controlled by the experiences in their life and the systems that they thrive within, to the point to where they ain't worked that muscle?
I think it's for sure like systems. I think if I'm using just our community, for instance, like you hear a lot of shit. Okay, this is also one of my biggest issues with the quote community. The again, us being podcast niggas. If either one of us grabs either one of these lights and puts some blue or nice soft purples behind us, and
I got my purples right
yeah, want to put that put a light, put that on top of a light, and then you just start saying,
here. Anything with a soldier voice.
yeah, like she's at a time in her life where, like, as a man, you got to realize when you sit down, the angle of your knees is what makes, like, men sit at 90-degree angles, and the problem with your 90-degree angle is it is obtuse, and if it's obtuse in your legs, it's obtuse in your life. Like, you didn't say nothing. Like, so those, so I think, like, specifically for our community, you have people that speak to your experience, and you've only gone through life in a certain, you've, not to get super, what the fuck is that? Not to get super, they clone Tyrone, but you ain't never left the Glen. Like, your whole life is the Glen. If you haven't seen the movie, your whole life is your block, your neighborhood, your experience, and not paying attention that if you traveled, half an hour up in one direction, you pass Wilshire. Like, it's some other shit up here. Not to say it's the better shit, but it's something, oh shit, there's a whole different way to do this. I might not do it like that, but I can apply that to my community, my experience. Oh, I have just a broader lens. So if you don't have a broad lens and you do have systemic issues, you have government things, you have marketing, business shit, capitalism. We trying to sell, and again, I'm not trying to sell morality. I'm trying to have you buy my product, and my product might be that the easier way for you to sell it is if you think niggas ain't shit. If you think that the way you naturally look is not the best. If you think that you're a fucking loser nigga if you don't have this jewelry, this shoe, this, and that's how you think, and that's how you've gone through your whole life. That's how you went through. We talked on here, like, if you, by the time you get to 5, you got some real formative shit going on in how you think. So that's your childhood. You go through high school like that. You're an adult. 26 is when this motherfucker's supposed to biologically, have all this shit said. You got a lot of unlearning to do. So, yeah, it's 50,000 things whooping y'all ass. Y'all got the whole internet. It's infinite information on here. Like, it's all of it. All of the information is on there. And everybody's still dumb.
I mean, that's because although you have access to all this information, you have the control caveat of your algorithm. Your algorithm is like any other relationship. It's going to mirror where you're at. So whatever you're looking at is going to throw it at you tenfold. So if you're going to keep seeing the same perspectives, you're just going to keep seeing the same narratives to where you can't even think outside the box. You can't even allow yourself to understand the concepts of they clone Tyrone. Like, you're going to see it from this same perspective at all times because you're not used to being exposed to something different, because the way things are designed, you're going to attract what you are, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I hold space for the, you don't know what you don't know, because that's literally everybody. And in that regard, I try not to, like, bust nobody ass about that. I usually get mad at people who, like, confidently say things that you didn't, like, fully study properly. And I find that to be a little, like, as much as I say a lot of shit on here, I don't know every goddamn thing. I know from my experience and to that specific point. So I think sometimes that's what people get kind of caught up in, is like, your experience, while fucked up, is not, I don't know, the experience. Mm-hmm. And that's where motherfuckers get their shit. And it'd be like real, like, simple, basic thinking. And some of this shit, it's hard. And what's that? It's a we all know, like, the old adage, none worth having come easy and shit. And then y'all be getting up here talking about love and relationships and fucking the betterment of the black community and be like, it should be easy as 1, 2, 3, and if it ain't, you gotta let it go. And that doesn't make any fucking sense.
How many people are saying it should be easy as 1, 2, 3, and they don't really understand the shit that they're saying?
I think everybody.
Because I would agree. I think a lot of people are saying things because they know it's going to get them attention. It doesn't necessarily mean they have an extensive comprehension of what they're saying.
Yeah, I think I was watching, and I think low key, not even low key, niggas be trying to get a little profound on a Joe Budden pod. I'm a little mad at it because I was like, you niggas up top can be goofy. Let the let's figure it out down here. They got like, it was a couple things they did. It was like super mental healthy. And one of these last episodes, they were talking to like, it was like a really deep talk between like Melissa Ford and everybody up there, and like fucking, what's that nigga's name? Flip was talking to her and shit. And they were having this whole conversation about like relationship. And the long and short of it is like she was dating somebody for like 7-8 months. And during that time, her mom got sick. This was during COVID. And they were discussing like how she kind of has like a bit of coldness towards relationships, and she's a little cold in and of herself for her own issues, but she's really helpful of others. And I was like, oh, that's understandable, blah, blah, blah. And so her point was, how can somebody be with you during this time and start to back out and start to be like kind of gaslighty or whatever, and basically like kind of abandon her in her time of need. And they were like, not condoning what he did, but it's like you got to also understand the other side of 7-8 months might be a lot. Like y'all are cool, added in like maybe I think they had a long distance relationship, but y'all are cool, but it might be a bunch for you to drop the grief that you're going through of your losing your parent, or the potential that, you know, she's older, she had got a diagnosis, I think she had cancer, don't quote me. Mm-hmm. And COVID, it's like, bro, it's like your mom's gonna die, and like we've only been dating 7 months. That's not a long time. So I guess sometimes like if you're maybe like her, people who have experienced things not even that deep, but just go, relationship love is trash and this is it, without kind of understanding the other side, that this was a lot. Not to say dog shouldn't have, you know, said something like, you know, forthcoming like I can't handle this, but understanding that that's also kind of a tall order depending on y'all's relationship and what he's gone through. And also this the concept that, again, love, all this relationship shit, everybody want to be Denzel or Viola, or I'm only shooting at the old people, fucking like Sam Jackson, like real cool, awesome black love. Those people went through their own set of struggles. The shit is not easy. That doesn't mean you should get your fucking ass whooped. That's not what nobody's saying. Nobody's saying condone abuse, but like the difficulties of it, it's not an easy thing to land these things. And I feel like that's a lot of where people miss out on it. Like the pain of it is par for the course. Like the whole thing is like viewed as like a prize you're supposed to win, as opposed to maybe a fight that you should win. And if you step in the ring, like there's a good chance you're gonna get your ass whipped a few times. And then you go, oh, I should keep my hand up. Oh, I learned how to duck. Ooh, I've mastered my jab. You do a couple more things like that. That's why y'all should have had some more experience maybe in high school or whatever. Like those are the years for you to get your ass whooped. And then you get ass whooped in your 20s. Not so you can be some bitter fuck, so you can be like, oh, I can bob and weave. And I can also determine, because I feel like people turn that always into, oh, I see the bullshit coming, I need to dip. That also could be like, I see what is and isn't bullshit. This is like a bad moment, or they might not understand. I'm a better communicator. I can communicate this right now, you know, within reason. Yeah. Also, it is a way to get the fuck, but I want y'all to stop being, you know, bitter fucking weirdos. Don't matter what you identify as, what your gender is. It's all you fuckers are weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's that one of our favorite words on here, like understanding discernment, right? Understanding what my approach should be. That kind of makes me think about a conversation I had recently with an old client. You know, I've shared before that we used to work with kids, so I have some old clients that I worked with, both in the houses or the facilities, and also as a therapist. They'll still reach out to me for some counsel here and there, or just some clarity, whatever. But I was talking to one of them about something that I helped them with. You know, it's been 7-8 years, whatever the case is. It's been a while. But it's kind of it resurfacing and re-triggering them because they're still kind of going through it in some capacity. But like knowing when and how to fight and when not to fight. Like you have to be able to understand when I should fight, how I should fight, when not to fight, and why not to fight. And I think it's kind of the same thing when it comes to information, when it comes to people, when it comes to our perspectives and expectations of other people. Like you should be able to understand, like, what should I perceive? Why should I perceive? How should I perceive? So on and so forth. So going back to the Melissa Ford situation, like, yeah, it's extra context. You left me during this time of need. Well, it's like, yeah, but the whole world is shut down. So maybe they're going through grief and loss too. Maybe I can't juggle me having to struggle with my losses on top of supporting you through yours, and you're not able to support me the way that you expect me to support you. or extra context, say for her. I don't know what she was like when she was younger, but we all know, like when we was in high school, she was, she's one of the ones.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah. I remember.
thoroughly. I got the magazine somewhere to confirm it.
I sure the fuck do.
But I'm sure you weren't the same person then that you are now. So I'm pretty sure you've done the same thing to other people. Because, I'm one of the ones. I don't have to deal with any of this. I don't have to support you through anything. Like I can go find somebody better. So this seems laborious for me, so I'm just gonna leave. Like you've been on the other side of the coin, but do we often understand when we have done the very things that we've complained about?
And I think understanding the weight of what you're complaining about, because like again, I'm not taking away like what she says she went through is like some of the wild shit.
Absolutely.
There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Not saying that's not a hard thing, but understanding like every nigga in the room said that shit, and they were all kind of throwing out, he's fucking other bitches, y'all in long distance, and that could easily be true. But I think and I think there is like a romanticizing thing of like, you just supposed to show up, and I know this is as le nigga. Like that is one of the fucking things that you're supposed to show up and like fucking Superman this bitch, and everybody says just be there and that's important, but I think sometimes understanding like the weight that you put on a motherfucker's shoulders, and I'm even stepping aside like from her situation, but that's heavy, like, and that's in my mind when I thought about that, I'm like, bro, if I live down the street from somebody, that's still heavy for 6 months. That's heavy, like. I think it would still be heavy even if it was like 7 years. I think in that scenario, if I'm putting like years on it, I would have expected somebody to kind of ride that shit out. But I'm like 7 months, nigga, like shit. 14 months, you might still be like, oh shit, this is gonna be some shit to carry with this individual, because that's the type of grief you can't really put a time frame on. This person, that's something that completely shifts you to your core as a person. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's any one way or another to fucking handle that. If your significant other goes through something and somebody is important to them, like a parent, they get Uncle Bend. They just walking around getting milk, and you should have stopped the robber, and then pow, like that's instant gone. Mm-hmm. But also on the flip side of somebody going through cancer, you have to watch somebody deteriorate, and yeah, I feel like that's also a bit of that's a heavy toll to put on somebody to expect them to like be there. She was super saying like he should have said something, and cool with that. But I'm saying that only to say is when people say certain things, like understand the burden you put on somebody, and niggas sometimes that's a lot on that fucking bar. Like that's wild shit. Like like nigga be like like niggas always say that shit. And I'm me, the civilian square who pays his parking ticket. I'm about to go pay my registration one of these days. On time. I gotta be down for 12 years. Nigga, maybe she should live her life. Like, she didn't do that, bitch. Like, she didn't do that. Like, just certain things sound good and they sound super fucking Disney Channel romantic or Tubi romantic, whatever you're fucking watching. But that's a lot, yo. Like, that's fucking crazy. Like, applauds to people who, like, go through that and they love and their relationship is that. But if you've been rocking with this person for this long, for a certain amount of time, y'all might not have that connection, because also that's a whole other thing. Like, we've been rocking for, like, a year. But y'all been kind of bullshit for that year. Like, that year was fun. Yeah. Like, y'all had half a year of fun, and then y'all just started the second half of the year of, like, having a relationship. Because fun is not, and I'm not speaking this from out of my ass. This is from experience. You'd be like, this motherfucker is fun. I'm having a good time. And they'd be like, this motherfucker has the emotional range of a fucking toddler. Like, this shit is, after the fun, like, if we're not having fun and, like, out and about, we don't enjoy, like, the time together feels weird. It feels hollow. It feels like there's this big giant bubble between them, but it takes time to know that.
I'll even say not even just that, but like, this person is fun, but then you realize, like, I'm not growing. I'm having lots of fun, but I'm not growing. I'm not progressing. So how long is the fun going to last? Because if I'm not growing at all, that means at some point I'm going to have to focus on growth, and this environment doesn't constitute growth. It doesn't foster growth. And the fun can't last forever, because this fun going to run out.
Well, that be something that, you got to, that's one of those, I feel like, the bars on the floor type conversations, because fun, it's cool. Like, that ass is fat, we are I don't know. I feel like that's one of those things that you can have one of those conversations and try to understand like the complexities of a person or what you need out of a relationship and shit like that. Because it'd be like, this is really doesn't do much for me outside of this specific environment. Like, I ain't turning up like that. I can, now and again, Shout out to Kirsten, group chat. Shout out to group chat network. If they do stuff, you should go do some stuff with them.
Absolutely.
But yeah, if you're not in this specific environment, like, oh shit, is this a good thing? Is this a fun thing? Is this a growth or progressive thing? Am I happy here? Like, I realize what's that shit? Y'all motherfuckers all watched, don't act like you didn't. You watched The Lightning Thief. You watched Percy Jackson. Whole relationship is you sitting in the fucking thing eating the lotus flowers. And you be like, oh, this shit is amazing. No, it's not. Y'all niggas is drunk and you fuck. And you maybe, do some other shit. But y'all not really, like, connecting. This is not, I'm going to say this till I'm blue in the face. It's not your friend. Like, y'all niggas is not friends. Y'all niggas is not dogs. And that's who the fuck you supposed to be with. And then y'all have sex too, though. I'm not saying don't do the other shit, but I'm saying that that's not the most important part. Like, that's the garnish. The meat and potatoes, nigga, is y'all supposed to be, like, fucking with each other.
But I know we normally gear things towards romantic relationships, but I feel like that's in every aspect.
For sure.
Like, that's the same concept for people in their careers. Like, this career is fun or this career is lucrative, but it doesn't grow me, it doesn't progress me. Or I like spending time with my family, but my family doesn't grow me or progress me. Mm-hmm. I'm used to being in these environments. They're familiar and they're comfortable. And sometimes I like them because they don't challenge me, because they don't grow me, because they don't improve me, which means I don't have to go through the labor of trying to pay attention to myself. This shit just allows me or enables me to stay where I'm at without, reproach in some capacity. But
it's a good point.
It makes me think of, like, how many people's identity are based in that same mindset or that same feeling. How many people have shaped a complete identity around, I'm choosing things that feel good but don't progress or grow me.
A lot. Because that's one of the quotes y'all be saying. If it don't feel good, if it don't serve me, or blah, blah, blah. And I just feel like some of that shit is taken out of context. Like, it don't need to, like, I don't know, man. I'm feel like, you don't got to go to fucking the NFL, but play a sport or, like, do some fucking physical. Because I just feel like that's a good analogy for my brain to connect. Me breaking my leg is like, this does not serve me. This shit is bringing me pain. Me having, like, absolute terrible soreness in my legs from a good leg workout is like, oh, this is painful, but this is gonna serve me. I'm finna get strong as fuck. And, like, understanding what that feels like in, like, relationships or in your interactions with people and what you're doing, like, I enjoy, like, I haven't been the biggest fan of, like, companies I've worked for, but I like my field. And at each spot, I'm like, oh, I've developed my skill set and this, that, and the third. So that's different between, like, and I've been in space where I was like, I fucking hate this job. And your boy quit. Quick, fast. I'm out of here. So I think, but you got to kind of be like, you got to learn, like, your little introspective skills. Like, you have to be able to really, like, inventory, like, how do I feel and why do I feel like that? Therapy is such a great thing, guys, because in that space, you would learn those things. Like, sometimes that shit is super difficult to learn on your own. So you need somebody to kind of push you up there. Or at least, even if you, okay, and I'm saying that, like, it sounds a bit, I think, not taking into account, everybody can't afford to go to therapy. Everybody doesn't have time. But you should definitely, like, I think, pay attention to individuals who are, like, smarter than you. I do that. Like, that was part of, before therapy, I was just listening to people who I was like, at least the concept of, like, this person, I disagree with them, I think. But I also don't understand what they're saying. So let me just eat this fucking, I don't know, man, podcast or lecture or whatever. And by the end, I was like, oh. And I might have to listen to that shit like 2 or 3 times. I know I've said this fucking speech a lot, but, like, to me, it works.
But that's you intentionally choosing therapeutic spaces or therapeutic work. Mm-hmm. Like, sure, everybody can't afford therapy. You can. You just may not know the resources out there that are available to you to help you afford therapy. But that's another conversation. So in your mind, you think that you can afford it. But also the perspective of, I want to be able to afford it in some capacity because it's going to benefit me, right? So sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
I may not be in the greatest of circumstances, but I'm going to find a way to get this thing that I know that I need to improve myself. Through hell or high water, most of the greats are going to figure out how to do something that's going to improve or better them. And the opposite end of the spectrum will do the reciprocal. I'm going to find ways to not do that. I'm going to make an excuse to not be able to do it. I'm going to make an excuse to say that this is outside of my wheelhouse or outside of my comfort zone. Like,
At
the perspective, not to cut you off, the perspective of growth, right? A lot of us don't choose the perspective of growth. So even going back to the example that we used a second ago, like these spaces they're fun, but they don't grow me. If you have a perspective and an intention of growth, you can find ways that these things that are less than ideal can still contribute to you. You use the analogy of a broken leg, right? Mm-hmm. The pain of a broken leg versus the pain of being in the gym. Both of them have pros and cons, because you can have pain from the gym because you're doing shit wrong, but you just refuse to learn or ask for help or to seek out guidance or to do your own research and edify yourself. And that broken leg that you suffer in sports, it could be for a good reason. Yeah, you may have to sit out the season, but you get to learn how your body repairs itself. You get time to stop and pay attention to how you can come back stronger. It helps test you to see how you're going to respond to adversity and things of that nature. Like, if you have that mindset, you can figure out how to flip something into a better space for you. But that's a choice. So how many people are not choosing progress, not because they don't have the ability to, but simply because they're finding excuses to tell themselves that I don't want to grow. And they may not say it to themselves in that capacity, because that sounds nuts when they do say it. They come to therapy and then saying it that way, and that's when they have their revelation. But they lie and distort their thoughts, or they are plagued by distorted thoughts as far as, I don't really want to grow, but I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say that I can't. There's an inability.
I think there's a good chunk of that, and I think there's also like, I think sometimes that's like one of the better things, like that some people say it, but I think people might still not understand. Like in therapy, a lot of it is just somebody who has a different set of eyes. Like, you know, a sports reference, guys, here it comes. Like, you know, you got the quarterback on the field, you got the head coach on the sideline, but you have niggas up in the booth because you just need to see the whole thing. That motherfucker be like, call this. Like, I can see the scheme better than you. I just have a different angle or viewpoint than you. And as far as to the conversation about, like, you know, if you say you can't afford that person, I don't be wanting to sound like, you know, one of them niggas. But, like, you could, like, you know, sometimes some people can't afford to go every week or twice a week or whatever the fuck. Maybe you a once a month motherfucker. Like, maybe, you know, depending on the price range, because there's affordable shit. But I'll use some of the super high ones. I use motherfuckers say, like, you know, 175 a session, like the big dick motherfuckers. Like, y'all spend 175 on like other shit. Like, I'm just saying, like, you could still fit in some. I'm not even saying you could fit in that other bullshit. You could get a 175 a month and just pick a day. Like, at this time of the month, payday is here. So this second, whatever paycheck, I'm going to go ahead and just put 175 to the side and just check in with a motherfucker. Here's how my month has been. I've been feeling like this. And just let them give you something to fucking work through next month in. Hey, I'm doing it now. Like, you know, like that's the plan. Like, you get something this month, y'all talk about some shit, and then go, all right, man, I guess I'll see you next month. You try to focus on that one thing, and then y'all build on that.
But that's the choice. That kind of goes back to the Clone Tyrone situation, right?
Did y'all watch that? We're gonna talk about it now. We've mentioned it. We just talked about it. Fucking Felix told us to talk about it. I'm making it a point now because I'm gonna forget again.
But say, for instance, with that, like, all those people made conscious decisions to stay where they was. They part of it wasn't conscious because some of them were being controlled by these other systems, but we'll get into that as we talk more about the movie. But there's lots of people that say they have an inability to do something, and you're like, no, you just got to allocate some funds. Like, how many of y'all buying a pair of $200 J's every other month? You could easily put that money towards something. It's summertime. A lot of y'all done been to Mexico a few times, drinking and eating your life away. So that means you have some funds to be able to talk to somebody about progression. Or you didn't make sure that your hair is laid.
Tulum don't owe me nothing.
Tulum, Cancun, Rosarito.
It don't owe me nothing.
What's the other place? Tijuana. All in places like people are tripping, figuratively and literally.
They getting down there. Y'all niggas a little dangerous. I'm scary because them niggas is wild down. Y'all watch the news?
Oh no,
them niggas getting crazy still down there. Hey,
just stay close to the resort. Lay low and mind your
they
business.
don't give a fuck about that shit either. Them
Nah, they
motherfuckers
don't.
be pulling up everywhere.
Yeah.
Y'all niggas underestimate them cartel niggas. Wow.
No, they know what they need to know when they need to know it, how they need to know it, and I pride myself on not needing to be known.
Hell yeah. I'm not important. Leave me alone.
Not
my
at
boy.
all. But yes, allocating your time, effort, energy, focus, and all that stuff to things that could easily be moved out the way so that you can progress forward. Like a lot of people choose to be in their own way. So shifting gears kind of to they clone Tyrone, right?
Y'all should have watched it.
Once they start figuring out the system and how it's affected them and what their reality is, they took a couple of days to sulk. I think, movie time is going to be like the span of, say, 2 weeks or so.
Something like that.
They took some time to sulk and
Oh,
pity themselves.
spoilers, I guess.
Kind of.
Just in case.
They asses was running out to see Barbie so they can sit down and watch goddamn They Clone Tyrone.
Hey, look, and I'm not saying either one of those because I'm a Chris Nolan fan, so I plan to go see Oppenheimer, even though I do kind of have like a love-hate relationship with all these World War II movies because, I just feel like we run that in the ground because that was like the one time we can effectively say we played hero, but there's a whole lot of history where we was doing some crazy shit, and we don't never really say those correctly.
We had a Tuskegee Airmen movie. We've had a few Tuskegee Airmen movies, but ain't nobody talk about the syphilis experiment.
Yeah, y'all always do the fucking civil rights or slavery. It's like you could only have the movies where America did some terrible shit while simultaneously like niggas was just like getting their asses whooped and like eating it. Like you never go like I said before. There's a Django. Like that's the only one, and y'all got mad about that because a white man made it. We should have made the other motherfucker. I don't know. I'm not in the writers' rooms, but nobody's in the writers'
I'm
rooms.
about to say ain't nobody in there right now because ain't nobody getting paid to be in there.
But I'm just saying there's other stories. But anyways, moving to the fucking They Clone Tyrone conversation. If you didn't watch it, I think you should. Clone Tyrone is I want to say. I'm assuming the Glen is like near Memphis because they mention Memphis a lot.
They mentioned them going to Memphis towards the end. Obviously, it's in the South.
Yeah,
It is no doubt about it that it takes place in the South. But I mean, even the crazy part of like Tyrone ain't introduced into the last 5 minutes of the movie.
I thought that was a cool little,
Absolutely.
tidbit because initially I spent the whole thing. I was like,
Who the fuck is Tyrone?
I figured something was gonna happen, but I was like, oh, we following Fontaine, Jamie Foxx character.
I thought the original guy was going to be Tyrone, but he wasn't.
Yeah. So, you see the trailer, like John Boyega plays Fontaine and he a dope boy. Jamie Foxx is a pimp. Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, she's a hoe in the movie. She's one of the Captain Marvels. She's fucking Spectrum. She's fire though. Oh, they're doing another one of those. And I'm literally only excited about that movie because she's in it. And she better be fucking fire, yo. I better not watch this film. I'm not even she better get her fucking shit off. Like I'm here
This is the
for
one
it.
where they're going to have all three her.
Yep.
Right?
I'm
Carol Devers and the kid.
Yep, I'm here, Marvel. Like I'm logged in. I'm watching everything. I've watched fucking tonight or tomorrow. I'm gonna finish watching fucking because y'all trying to play Sam Jackson. It's slow. It's not the best show, but I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna watch the scrolls and shit. So I'm just saying, I want her to get her shit off, and I'm gonna be really pissed if she's not just outrageous. So, anyways, moving on. Movie starts out. They doing regular hood nigga shit. Where my money at? beating niggas up, pimping hoes. He gets shot in a bad little, retaliation thing. Whole new nigga wake up. Now you like, what the fuck? Now we on the whole. He is on a whole mission trying to figure out, what happened to him. He goes, runs the next night the way he did the previous one. Everybody like, nigga, we just saw you get killed, which is a terrible mistake on the fucking cloners part. Like they didn't fucking wipe anybody else's mind.
Nope.
But anyways,
no damage control.
Yeah, he goes through the whole thing. They go, hey man, we saw you last night. So him and Jamie Foxx's character, and I think her name is Tiana, I think, but I might be wrong. They characters link up like, we saw you last night. It's some weird shit. We saw you get shot. They go to the house because she knows where it's at. They find the underground lab, and now we off to the races. It's some fucking conspiracy shit. There's an underground lab in the trap house with weird white men with afros. Nobody
hides any of that too. But I think that's part of the brilliance of it, as far as like them not doing the damage control. I think that's on purpose to kind of, at least for me, how I interpret it.
Because you niggas not gonna look for shit no way.
Right. Right. Like it's just how blatantly obvious that the system functions to where we don't even have to, because y'all motherfuckers still not gonna recognize it. You may have one or two special cases that actually do recognize it, but it ain't no guarantee that they gonna do anything.
And, pay attention to your local old nigga. Not to say that they not like, had whatever, but your old niggas and these drunks and shit don't be fucking crazy, because the old nigga knew to play the whole time. He was a little warped in the mind, so he spoke in riddles, spoke like Yoda.
He been through it.
But he just,
in my opinion, save how I looked or explained it, to the ladies when we talked about the movie. Say he's one of the originals, right? Like I've been through this experiment, and I realized that I'm a clone, or I realized this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. But he quit. I didn't do anything to fight it. I just sat down and accepted it the same way they thought they were going to just sit down and accept it. Mm-hmm. They just said, whatever, I'm just going to continue with my regular life. And that's what they start doing. Well, Jamie was kind of isolating. But
I think that's a good representation of, like the normal run-of-the-mill old nigga that you kind of overlook at the little, at the liquor store, at the barbershop. Like, bro might have obviously fell on hard times throughout his life, but, like, there's knowledge in there. Like, when you look at, we all talked about the fucking Snowfall ending. Like, those niggas exist. Now, you use your fucking discernment. Now, all these niggas, like, I was riding that motherfucking unicorn through Narnia, nigga. Shit, I done met He-Man. Like, that motherfucker you might want to not listen to. But
let me hear him. Hear him.
Yeah.
Hear him. Don't take it as face value, but hear him.
I knew Linda Lovelace shit. Now, he might have. Like, fuck, But I think like that is like, kind of like, okay, you can get some old school knowledge. These motherfuckers like that or before us aren't just this generation you could just fuck off and throw away.
Yeah.
Not to say you need to be harping on, all of this shit, but there's knowledge you can have a little generational gap. I'm absolutely looking at this movie that deeply because it's a good fucking film, and some of the shit we've been up here fucking looking at is trash. So
y'all do deeper dives into whatever the fuck. I know I put up the post about this nigga talking about polyester relationships.
Oh yeah, was he playing?
He was dead serious.
I thought he
the tattoos on his face let me know that nigga was dead serious.
I legit thought it was kind of. No. I thought he was fucking bullshit, but
no, he definitely.
Yeah,
he tried to play it off so he don't look stupid in the end. Because ego won't let you admit that you're wrong.
That's funny.
But people deep dive into those shows that really don't need to be dove into and really have no depth or substance in the first place.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie.
But they'll miss this.
That dude be kind of throwing me, because when y'all be having like everybody become an armchair therapist when, what's that girl name? When Krishan get to crying about whatever. It was something I saw. And wow, what seemed like she was attempting to unalive herself over the baby thing. I felt like there are also some of those conversations. Like, y'all gonna talk about it for real.
Yeah.
Like, while I think I have no real like affinity for either one, because I think the shit Blueface be doing is crazy. But like, everybody up there became like a super therapist. Like, we have to understand and rally around her. I'm like, okay, don't let her like just end herself. But also, y'all don't do no favors without kind of pushing back on. You made the decision to deal with said individual. It's the same conversation when niggas be like, Krishan crazy, and you see niggas in the comments like, Blueface be kind of, I'm like, no. Blueface chose that just like she chose Blueface. So like everybody can sign up. Everybody can rally around.
They chose what they were.
I made a lot of goofball decisions in this and a lot of permanent goofball decisions in this. But circling back to the Tyrone thing, like, you know, so obviously the story kicks off. They're on this whole mission to undo and figure out what pretty much the man has done in this community. And they look at, you know, it's shit like, you know, perms put in your hair. They make you docile and they like, you know, take out all whatever in your brain. Like you go to the fucking
chicken check.
The chicken make you laugh and make you all fucking.
You forget about everything and all your struggles and stripes and
the grape drink that you drink at church. Like all those things are spots that obviously is pretty. That's pretty obvious.
Accurate to me.
The chicken spot.
A whole lot of brainwashing going on in your church. It ain't just the grape juice. But okay.
The chicken spot. The food is fucking us up. The way that we, you know, beauty standards and shit, y'all are getting like, you know, y'all killed Chris Rock like he didn't fuck a black woman, but that fucking movie wasn't a disdain to black women. That was the nigga says it like my daughters came home and thought that their actual natural beauty wasn't good. So I went and made a documentary about the fucking hair industry and how none of that shit really benefits us. So, you know, whatever. I mean, you know, y'all can get mad at him for other stuff, but that's when that nigga's had his moments. I don't like what he let Louis C.K. get away with, but that nigga's had his like cool nigga moments.
He's definitely kind of like old Kanye and new Kanye.
Yeah, y'all was being a little unreasonable, dog. You know, but
yeah, the music, how the music controls your mind and makes you do.
Oh yeah,
certain aspects.
Stupid music. Certain music
is going to influence you to have certain behaviors, and certain songs are going to lull you to sleep. They're going to take you out of your present.
That nigga, speaking of music, that nigga Dale put some shit in his story about Ice Spice because it was something where she said like he think I'm the shit, Miss Poopy. And that was, I gotta find it. She said Miss Poopy, and that nigga was mad as fuck.
Dale, why are you even? You are somebody that can actually put words together.
Oh, that was funny.
Like you are a smart individual that knows how to play the word game when it comes to rapping. Why are you even wasting your time listening to industry plant Spice?
Niggas got a DJ, bro. Niggas got to get the fucking crowd jumping. That nigga's a musical phenomenon. You gotta. That must be. Damn, that nigga got to come back here now because that must be a trip having to play both sides. Like
I can understand.
You
that.
make the hit, but if you gonna be a DJ, you got to play what the people want, and the people.
I could not
want the smoopity poopity goobity joobity.
Right. I could not stand a good 65-75% of the songs that I had to play at our house parties and functions.
She like to tickle my pickle while it wickle. Like, oh fuck.
I could not. Dipset songs, I was not fucking with Dip. Now granted, having to play these songs helped me appreciate certain people a little differently. Cause I was not fucking with Gucci prior to college, but because I was DJing these house parties, I was like, Gucci grew on me. Gucci and 1017, they grew on me a little bit.
My thing is, I guess with this, like, it's like, I feel like
I'm brainwashed too.
I feel like artists. Damn, no, now we didn't devolve. I'll come back to Tyrone. Like, I feel like I'm clearly a fan of, like, I love Cole. Mm-hmm. I love Kendrick. I love when these niggas get up here. Like, I'm absolutely a Griselda fan. All them niggas over there, like, but if I'm at the function and the ass is out and you play some fucking Benny, I'ma flip the turntables over. Like, I'm like, and I'm not gonna lie. Like,
you want to hear no Earth Gang when the ass is shaking?
Listen, yo, if you get up here and I hear Conway come out the fucking speakers while the asses is in the stuff,
that goes with the ass.
I'ma flip your fucking DJ shit over. You know what I'm saying? Now, on the flip side, this is a little back and forthish. Because if she starts singing Benny, you know, you fuck around and might have found your wife.
She throw her ass and turn around and be like, hey, yo.
Yeah. If she start rapping Burden of Proof and don't miss not a fucking word, you might have found your wife. But I'm just saying, like, you got to understand the environment you're in. Like, I take with that what you will. It's a little all over the place. But, you know, you got to relax. You got to relax a little bit on that shit. But it does speak to, like, you know, I've discussed, you know, talent-wise and what I believe like that does for your fucking you know, shows you as an artist and so on and so forth. But I'm not an artist, nigga, so y'all can, you know, take what the fuck I say and, you know, throw it out the window. But the way that, like, you know, they discuss that on the show of, like, the music does control you, and then y'all be up here talking about the vibes and shit. That's like science. Like, there's enough experiments out there to show that the music, the beats, the this, the that, the repetitiveness, it does something to your conscious and subconscious, and you listen to that shit too much, it'll start fucking with your brain waves. That's an actual fact. So I thought that was a cool fact. Because I think all these things, like, think about it from the sense of, like, niggas who are into this type of shit genuinely, like, oh, I understand it. And niggas who might have never understood that concept. Like, that's what I be looking for in some of these, like, movies. Some shit is just fun, hoopla nonsense. But some of y'all can throw some movies where it's like, hey, like, drop some shit so niggas can get some understanding of some shit. Because we didn't, I got it, man. We didn't all seen Grit Ball. Great. You can, niggas, because niggas be trash. But I feel like that also puts out a disproportionate image that the way motherfuckers be talking, like, y'all be getting real passionate. Like, every nigga is Blair Underwood in real life. And that's not true. Like, it just statistically is not true. Like every nigga comes home and is like, oh, you have a stripper. Bitch, like that doesn't happen. Like, that just, not to say that, like, it never, but I'm like, the way that y'all act, like, that is, like, the only representation of us. And the same flip side, like, for women, like, it'd be a bunch of these fucking films, and it's a bunch of fucking, like, God, I was trying not to use Tyler Perry twice, but shit, man, whatever the movies is, and it just is a bunch, like, okay, I shouldn't have to just solely rely on, you know, Issa Rae to write some fucking progressive shit. Like, y'all done ran Girlfriends was it. Y'all should have stopped. Y'all got to stop giving me the 4 girls in the city taking on dating because men can't handle that they have jobs. Where, bitch? Come here, 6-figure woman. So, like, yeah, because I'm not an asshole, so help me figure it out. Like, yeah.
6 foot, 6-figure woman.
All of them, whatever. Like, all this, you know, he would never date a woman who this, look at you 6'5". Yeah. We all the same, like, not to be crude, but, like, horizontal, I'm in that motherfucking, man. Like, what the fuck I'll tell you is, like, from here to, like, that place where I'm gonna be up in there, it ain't like that motherfucker is up in your sternum. That shit's, I'm in there. Put these big fucking palm trees up on my goddamn shoulders. Let's get to it. Usually I be feeling like, you usually be feeling calves and a little back and kneecap up here. I ain't never felt the back of a bitch thigh on my shoulders. Put your big ass up here, motherfucker. Like, I'm still strong. Shit, you just taller than me.
Fried chicken tastes the same no matter what pieces you eat.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I eat all that. Wings, breasts, giblets. My granny gave us giblets. I ate all that shit. Anyways.
Oh, you call them giblets? I call them giblets. But whatever.
Ghibli, whatever you call it, man. Hey, Akomazaki in this motherfucker. I'm on it now. All of it.
Didn't nobody eat Geely.
Yeah.
Except for Ben.
And he probably had facility, but look, that part was fun. But then you see this nigga now still slamming the doors like we fucking 50 and this shit still sucks. It's miserable out here. It's a whole other, I wasn't on getting, I don't plan to get on that this show, but y'all, that's another thing. Fucking miserable. Y'all in this marriage content. Every time I see it, I don't give a fuck if it's jokes. Where's the happy? That shit be seeming like, be happy to be miserable. Fuck you, boy.
It's because they're too busy listening to Steve, and he don't look happy
boy,
either.
Man,
Steve find enough work to make sure he don't have to be at home.
I do a whole episode on the fact that because y'all just be capitalizing on misery and call it fucking like love, and that shit looks like it sucks.
Sticking with this, they clone Tyrone. That's the system.
Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Work this shit back.
I got you.
So, but yeah.
Even with that, like, we talk about, like, how our community is functioning because of the manipulation of the system and how we're the clones and this, that, and the other. But I think we overlook parts of, like, the people that are in said factory that they break into. Like, they know what they're doing, but they're like, hey, man, I got to feed my family, so I don't really want to have to do this, but I'm doing this for the sake of having a job. So how people that aren't a part of the community contribute to other communities' destruction simply because they have to survive.
And
which perpetuates the system even more.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really want to do this to y'all, but I'm just here I'm just taking this out of this beaker and putting it into this beaker and from this beaker to the fridge. And that's what I do 50 times a day. That's my job. But it helps me feed my family. I know it fucks y'all system up. I know it fucks y'all communities up. I know it does some dastardly shit. But I don't intentionally want to do this to spite y'all or because I hate y'all. I gotta eat, and this is the best way that I could do it.
All of that shit. Or okay, and then two parts that I thought they're not like sneaky parts. They're like I think they're pretty out in the open. Like the first one being at the end when like the dude discusses, because I feel like as much as it jumped on like y'all are in the Glen, and the Glen is representative of all neighborhoods. Like, you know, that's the fucking, you know, that's the little theme. Like niggas get out here and run the same conditioning over and over, stay in these same spots, do the same shit. The system, and nobody is none the wiser and don't realize this shit is fucking us up, and we eating ourselves, and these niggas outside just treating us like experiments. Perfect. Then you have the dude who made the Glen, like, you know, the original John Boyega that they all cloned off of, and him expressing that like his main goal is to get us all to assimilate because of the trauma he's gone through. His mind went the complete other way of like the only way to beat them is to join them because we'll never win.
Yeah.
And low key, that's how a lot of niggas be sounding when you talk about like social justice shit. It's like, look, you just got to get yours because they in that whatever. Keep in mind the whole time, the hood is the hood is got together. Not the government, not the fucking National Guard. All the niggas in the hood.
All the losers, all the people that are controlled, all the people that are inferior.
What was that? I saw a meme the other day. And I'm going to post it because I know I saved it somewhere. But it was something along the lines of like, all these motherfucking gangbangers, all these motherfucking niggas in the hood, I ain't seen none of you niggas clap, not one KKK member. Like, ain't shot not one of these niggas, ain't even beat them up, ain't showed up to their house not one time.
Ain't showed up to a Trump rally, a white nationalist rally,
What was
or
that?
a Republican National Convention.
Because it was that one thing where everybody was at some nigga house, but none of them was hood niggas. Like, none of the niggas who get to it was outside. Like, so in this film, all the hood niggas rally together and they knock all that shit over in a day. Now, obviously, yes, it's a movie, but I think that speaks to the fact of like shit gets done. Like, you niggas can't want shit to happen. Like, that's what some shit I said that like we talked about before we got on here. We were talking about, you know, just the run of the mill conversation before we get started, and it was one of these right left conversations. And the thing about the right is whatever it is, whether they all disagree, they all get together on one thing. We're going to vote and we're going to do whatever the fuck it takes to get the right on.
We're going to storm the Capitol.
We're going to storm the Capitol and still vote and support these motherfuckers' businesses. You can say, nigga. And they're going to put you on whatever one of these platforms that they just created out of nowhere. And that motherfucker's going to get followed. You can make a country music song and actively put in fucking newspaper,
whistles,
newspaper
fake
clippings,
articles,
and that are just like, you know, we will basically saying we will beat you niggas in the streets, and everybody's gonna support them. And on the flip side, the left will tweet to people that don't give a fuck about what we're your enemy, and then y'all be like, I fucking show them, bitch, read that motherfucker on Instagram, and nothing's changed. So I feel like, not to say you niggas always gotta all like get your fucking battle axes and mount up, but I feel like that is a representation of like, look, man, if all you niggas is for like the upliftment of us, you gonna maybe have to like do a little bit more, put some boots on the ground.
You have to sacrifice more. You're gonna have to step outside of your comfort zone and actually do some stuff that you don't want to do. You're going to have to try to find a way to intentionally grow. And that's not something that we choose to do. It's comfortable for us to have Twitter fingers. All of us are goddamn internet philosophers, activists, and anything else you can think of. We will deep dive and figure out a way to explain said point and read other people and debunk this person's narrative because it's based in bullshit and all of that. But when it comes to actual advocacy and doing things physically in the community or coming together to really dismantle some shit, actual growth and making sacrifices towards that, we don't want to do that.
You stand in the Gucci store and say, you know, we've been standing here for hours and we ain't got no type of no courtesy, no nothing.
Ain't nobody brought us no champagne, nothing.
That was crazy. But you know, or you know, you can get a bill passed that, you know, says that, you know, you don't have to fucking teach actual history. And then y'all get on TikTok. I mean, that's cool, like, you know, get awareness out there, but like, unless, I don't know, and this could be to my ignorance, but it just, them motherfuckers out there don't make no TikToks. They just get to it. Whatever the fuck that looks like for their side. And we be just saying shit and be fucking filming them on phones instead of just like, I don't know, I ain't trying to promote, violence, but like, do something else. Like, this shit ain't working. Like, I don't know, because they be shooting y'all. So I just feel like, you can. And
you can advocate to stand up for yourself.
Yeah, y'all
do something. Now, granted, I'm not saying just go out and just be assaulting police officers because, I got family and friends in the academies.
Vote in local elections. Listen to Killer Mike a little bit.
Just a lot of bit. But even like, instead of filming, if there's 4 cops and there's 15, 20 of us, and you see that they doing wrong, they whoop they ass.
Oh, like man, y'all wrong for that. It be regular people. It be some of these videos y'all post. These are not cops. It's regular people. Oh man, that's nuts. Like old boy who choked the nigga out on the
ain't nobody stomp him in the face.
Nobody kicked that white boy square. That's a regular person.
Right.
Like that's a regular person with 3 other
hey,
y'all
man, I
nuts.
get what you trying to do, but you a little excessive. I'm gonna need you to calm down on that. Ain't nobody stop, but that to me that feeds into the point of John Boyega's character, the original version, right? The assimilation, where a lot of us, we view success or progress as we have to get representation within these spaces. We have to work really hard within the system and play the system well enough to gain a space within the system so that we can take over the system. Knowing damn well that's not going to work. It hasn't worked.
It doesn't work. And y'all favorite person that y'all use for this assimilation, for this go along to get along shit, and y'all be lying, that whole content of character, that's fine. That was a good speech. But I then took these people into a burning building was where he left off. That's where he was at. That's where his head was at. That whole philosophy shifted. I want the check. I want us to get like, there's a lot of shit going on that I got to really adjust what I was talking about. And that's where y'all get that shit from. And that the person who said it wasn't fucking with it. The way y'all be like, using that fucking one, he didn't even mean it that way when he said it. Y'all just are running with that, and y'all are letting other motherfuckers like tell y'all who don't fuck with y'all or trying to tell y'all the meaning of what he meant when he was saying that speech. It was just like, I want y'all to get off our ass because y'all are racist as shit. That's the whole speech. Like I want us to knock that shit out. The whole speech was y'all are racist fucks, and y'all are still like just judging us off of your own racist views that don't make sense that y'all just made up, and we would like y'all to stop that. But also, I definitely wasn't trying to tell y'all that like we were just gonna kiss y'all ass. That's not the point. We just chose not to beat you niggas the fuck up, and that might have been wrong. Like,
and when he decided that, I might have been wrong about that. Maybe we should do this. That's when he ended up.
They said, "Whoa, hey there, yo, boy." Like, again,
we were okay with the other narrative. We're not okay with this one. So let's.
It was cool with that assimilation shit. Are you trying to fight back and really get? No, I'm not with that.
You are trying to, like they clone Tyrone, you're trying to go against the system and make some actual changes. Hold on, let us remind you who's really in control and what your actual options are. So you can either get on the bus or you can continue trying to do what you do and then you have to deal with the consequences.
So that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's, because what was that shit? There's been a couple things that I'm fucking with. That show and I'm a Virgo. I think was a cool that was like big on capitalism too. Like I feel like you should watch that. Like I think obviously you focus on fucking the Virgo dude because he's like a fucking, you tell him the poster is big giant motherfucker. But there's his homegirl and she has like this like, it's theatrical shit, but they make her have like this psychic ability where if she starts talking to you, like she starts having these visual whatevers, and she like just jumps in capitalism's ass. So I just am saying like, niggas are making some pretty progressive shit. What is this shit called? Kizazimoto. If you have fucking Disney Plus.
Oh,
that shit good as hell.
The black futuristic cartoon.
And I
started watching that when I was in Texas.
That might be the best shit I've fucking seen. That might be the fucking, because it's like, there's be complaints about people when they talk about like the Black Panther where like,
yeah,
it's dope. It's not like, bad, but like there's parts of like, if you read the comics, like Wakanda is like an entity in and of itself, and you kind of miss out on that on the fucking like movies and shit because there's so much shit going on that you miss out on like, this is a whole giant fucking country. And this kind of speaks to like, oh, hey, like, what if we were doing like mad other shit? Like, what if there was like, magic niggas and goddesses and those stories told? Like the way, every other cultures have gotten like get they shit off and just like magic fantasy realm. This was kind of that. And I was fucking with it heavy.
Cola Nut production.
Yo.
It really made me think.
Absolutely.
I was like, damn, that's. At first, I was like, oh, he made it.
Low key.
And I was like, oh, that's not him.
No, I
like. This is real similar though.
Like, part of me wants to. I don't know, man. Because part of me be like, I wonder if I just did a deep dive. I wouldn't be. I say this. I wouldn't be surprised if I look through like who was all a part of that over there, and like seeing somebody who's a part of that over there. I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like Disney should tap in with them too. Like, if this is a bigger thing, because I just feel like, obviously, the fucking medium, I feel like should broaden. Like, there should be much more of this. Like, in the background, usually y'all know, anime plays in the background here just for some, aesthetic and whatever. There's 50,000 of these. There's no way. There was a number somebody put out, and it was like how long it would take you to watch every one all the way through. It would take like a lifetime. So I just feel like we have more access to that. So I want things like this to be successful because it has more shit. As much as I like this, I would like this 10 times more if I saw like more me on here. And for all of y'all, we found out like a week ago, somebody did a story like anime characters. We all just really love cats because that's what they base their faces off of, which is a whole other fucking shit. But
the likable characters are based off of cats.
Look at him. Like every now I can't unsee it. He look like a blind cat. Look at this nigga. Like, and he got white hair. White hair characters are always like fucking shit up. Yeah, look, just like fucking
pointy nose.
Just fucking my whole life. Just fucking
destroyed.
It's not destroyed.
A whole genre of meow mix.
Kitten. Yeah, yo. I want y'all to watch all these bliggity black things. Even watch Sam, yo. It's not the best Marvel show, but that ain't Sam's fault. Sam came there and did what Sam needed to do.
I like it.
And so the fucking...
It's just slow.
Yeah.
But it has to set up... I figure it's slow, one, because Sam getting old. He can't do all the actiony stuff like he used to.
If Sam took every opportunity to sit down, there's moments where he didn't have to sit down where he did, and I was like, I know that was Sam. Go, motherfucker, I'm 70.
Right.
I'm not... This scene don't need me. How many takes is this? I'm sitting down. I'm going to sit down.
Right. So I know... Like, you expect Nick Fury to do all of this stuff that even his character physically can't do anymore. So they gotta stretch it out because he's only capable of doing and handling so much. I feel like he could really be like, I can get this in 3 takes.
For sure.
I do this well enough. I can get
I'm a
this
stage
done.
actor. I know what I'm doing.
Right. I can get this done in 3 takes. So they spreading it out just because it's like, look, y'all want me to help set up some of the other movies, and I'm going to have to be in some of the other movies. I'm not about to sit up here and kill myself for this series, and then I can't be in a motherfucking movie.
I think that's another thing that shows get critiqued on without understanding like a certain level of context for the show is like you can judge, say like they clone Tyrone. Obviously they set it up to be like a sequel, but it's a one-off technically. When you watch it, I need this movie to be captivating and gather me all in, tell me the story, have all the kaboom boom shit, so I'm like logged in, cool. But I think with Marvel, I think some of these shit's gotta be like understood as like this is a setup thing. I needed a setup movie. Okay, I have time now to do a setup show, but it's not all gonna be fucking like in game because that took 10 years to like build up. Granted, they was knocking the motherfuckers out the park. But this time I think it's different because you got to build characters that you just don't give a shit about. Granted, you niggas didn't give a shit about Iron Man until after Iron Man 1. But, like, some of these characters, like, you just don't give a fuck about. Like, the Skrulls is cool, but y'all niggas aren't Skrulls fans.
When it came to Marvel, nobody gave a shit about anything Marvel except for X-Men and Spider-Man.
Yes, Bar. That's why them niggas own other companies fucking owned and took that shit.
So now they got to revamp they spent all that time to utilize the momentum of Blade to create Marvel and
he
build
deserves some type of cameo in one of these fucking
Absolutely.
As something. I don't know how to fucking make that make sense, but yeah, yo.
You got multiple universes and multiple Blades. You can have him up here as well.
Yes.
Especially because what's her face can't get their shit together to actually finish the movie.
You know what? I would watch an old man Blade.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
You watched Old Man Logan?
Yeah, I would watch an Old Man Blade. I would watch. Actually, I would watch the fuck out of Old Man Blade.
And he ain't even that old. He can still. Well, he's not completely like Michael J. White is serious about keeping himself in shape, but that nigga Wesley can still do some shit.
You could. It's CGI, bro. You could do whatever. I've watched. We're talking about fucking. Nick Fury. I watched him do some shit that I know wasn't Nick.
Oh, like,
and I don't care.
That was not Samuel.
Like I watched. Okay, like even fucking. We all watched. Well, we all didn't watch it, but we're in comic book land now. I watched the Flash movie, and it is everything that everybody has said it is. But I'm not gonna lie, man. That was my first Batman, like Michael Keaton.
Fair.
And they had Michael doing some shit I know for a fucking fact he can't do. And I was logged in. They kept him in the stupid bat suit that you can't move your neck. And nigga, every time I was the dead ass like Kevin Smith. Every time Batman came on the screen, I was like, yes, I don't give a shit if this nigga eats ice cream for this whole scene. I'm in. It's Michael Keaton, and you want to get nuts? And then he dramatically delivered Want to Get Nuts. And I was like, oh shit, I remember Want to Get Nuts. Because I watched this shit as a kid 47 fucking times. Yeah, fuck y'all. Everything else.
The Nintendo game.
Yeah, everything else was whatever. I'm not gonna lie. At the end, the CGI shit everybody talked about, that critique is worthy because it
I will be honest. I haven't watched any of DC's productions.
Honestly,
I didn't watch Black Adam. I didn't watch Flash.
Yeah,
and I'm teetering on watching Blue Beetle. Only because it's a newer story, but because we know that they're pretty much throwing all of this shit out.
Black Adam bombed so bad that nigga went back to Fast and Furious. That was crazy.
Well, I don't think it. I think it's just you put out the movie, you put all this promotion behind it. He's supposed to help create this new lineage of DC and usher in these new characters and take over. And then you bring in a new person that says, "You're going to scrap all these movies that are already finished. We're going to release them, but." We're going to end up restarting everything after they're done. That doesn't make people want to watch it.
He did confirm that Blue Beetle will continue, which is nice because Blue Beetle is projected to be the worst fucking opening weekend, period. Like, it just is what it is.
That's just bad timing.
Yeah, it's bad.
I gotta come out during the strike. That ain't your fault.
Because I don't think the movie's going to be bad. I think it'll be like as a movie, I think it'll be fine. But all that other shit, James said.
Latino Shazam.
You know what? Because it does look like it's gonna be fun and shit. That's a good point. I think it will be like,
Shazam.
Yeah, it'll be some fun shit. I support. I think Blue Beetle's like dope.
Mm-hmm.
I think you niggas should watch it. I don't know if there's anything else to cover.
There's a lot of shit to cover, but we ain't gonna cover it in one episode. We don't have to because we've been gone for a month. We ain't talk about shit that we've been through in that month.
Oh. I got one more thing because I don't want to carry this over. I had to
release this right now.
No, yeah, I had this because I've made a fucking couple posts about it, or one or two posts about it, and it'll be a mental healthy thing that y'all didn't know was a mental healthy thing. Did y'all know? And as we wrap this up, did y'all know that they freed Fleece Johnson?
Yes,
Fleece Johnson is out and about in the community, living life, and some dude. And I don't even knock this nigga, right? I know that nigga said content, my page finna explode. And he's got him on YouTube. I saw it on TikTok. And so there's and everybody now is taking the TikToks and it's just him telling his stories. And it's still a lot of booty. It's a lot of other shit though. It's enough shit where it's like the way you niggas talk about jail, like some of you like, I do my motherfucking, and the way when Fleece discusses his actual instances, like it's like you niggas don't talk about jail for real. Because how that nigga did jail, how he expresses it, it's like this is not fun. None of this has ever been good. Granted, I don't know where you niggas are like doing your bids at, but I know he did his. I want to say it's in Kentucky. And just, there was something I saw literally 2 days ago where he discussed a nigga pulled out a knife. He just had bottles of shit on deck because he was a fucking menace. And he was like, yeah, what you gonna do? And the thought that like, I'm out here in the world balling up my fist like a fucking idiot. And there's niggas who have dookie bottles on deck to just bomb you with fecal matter and hepatitis, and you niggas are talking about like the fucking
going back.
And he was just up there. It was a lot of if you fucking look it up, it's just a whole lot of butt conversations, and it's still just as funny. Yeah. He thought you niggas at Boondocks were rude for putting him in that light, and I'm not one to argue with the man because if it's between you, he's old and still y'all are wrong. If it's all of us in the room, I'm fucking y'all are wrong. You shouldn't have talked about him like that because you nuts. But here's where it got mental healthy, and like I was watching it and I'm laughing like everybody else laughing, and in my mind I was gonna do a bunch of fucking like Fleece Johnson-y shits, and he's very adamant. He's very honest about his experience. He was like, I don't take anything back for what I did. I was this, that, and the third, obviously with dudes, and I was biting on motherfuckers, and I was just a fucking menace. But then when he explained his time frame of, he's like, I've been in jail since I was 15. Mm-hmm. He was like, I went to jail at 15, and whatever he did, and obviously I think he obviously did it in Kentucky, so I'm going to sprinkle some racism on there.
Absolutely.
And then that progressed to him being 17, and then at 17, they threw him in prison with men, and then he just had to figure it out. So he's doing violent shit to survive. And he expresses, he's like, I never had the experience you niggas had. Like, you niggas are talking about me in a way. He's like, I never experienced anything with the girl. I lived out my whole experience in this facility my whole life. And I just got out like in my 60s. And I thought to myself, I was like, this is more or less some of the experiences that I've witnessed, not to the extremeness of fucking a fleece, but I've worked in facilities. And I worked with these kids who are like...
They've been in facilities from birth, from baby until teenager.
You working it enough, you'll see somebody who you might have seen here, and you leave to go to another company, you get another job somewhere, you're like, oh, cool. And a motherfucker comes full circle, and you realize this nigga has tripped and fell through life the whole time since he left you, especially if you, like, hold the thing where these niggas talk to you and be like, no, you I like our all-star cast that we had back in the day, and it was like, but you talking, it's like, no, you guys were like the guys. Mm-hmm. Like you said, one contacted you. I had one that I've seen a couple times at the gym, and he still speaks about us like with a decent amount of reverence. He's like, oh man, I remember y'all, and y'all was at the third, and he had a dip, and then he's, figuring his shit out. So it's like, oh, that's shit that you go like, oh, I feel rewarded. I feel like I'm doing good shit when these niggas remember me, and I have, good stuff. And when they talk to you, it's still a lot of, what should I do with my life type shit now? So cool. I really applaud that. But when I thought about the fleece thing, I never thought that a Fleece Johnson story would put me into deep thought. Because when he said that, I was like, I've met them, and now I feel sad about this motherfucker's story. I've been laughing at the Booty Warrior for years, and that one statement, I was like, damn, that puts his whole shit in fucking perspective. This nigga never went to school.
I love booty. It hits different when you understand that he's never known any other booty but that. And that's the only way he's ever known to get it.
I never thought in my fucking life that I would have sat somewhere and had my fucking brain exploded like, oh shit, man, Fleece is extremely traumatized. Like, we say it as jokes, but I was really sitting there like,
traumatized, conditioned, institutionalized.
Like, his whole, then he has all these videos, and I'm now watching from a space where I'm still laughing, but I'm now watching like, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's survival. And you think about all these motherfuckers, you look at their jackets when they come from prison or something, it's like, he was a menace. It's like, he had no choice. Because, like, if you're fighting somebody and they're about to fucking, niggas in jail fight different, you might fucking die in this motherfucker. So you're doing a lot of shit to survive, and that sticks with you. Now you have to transition out into the fucking world after you've lived. That's not civil in there. It's not, you're not getting rehabilitated. It's just all corrections. Like, anybody who's worked in that space, it's like the whole get down is you have to like put your humanity on pause. And I just never thought I would have that fucking epiphany watching the nigga who was like, yeah, I miss, like, everybody's on the internet has seen this clip where he's like, what do you miss about anything you miss about? He's like, I miss booty, man. Everybody laughing. But I want to say that's the actual clip where he's like, I never had the opportunity to experience anything else. I lived my whole life in here. And he's like, I did the transition. He's like, I was straight, I was as straight as you could be, I guess, where you figured it out. Mm-hmm. He's like, I watched porn. He's like, we had magazines in here. And he's like, after a while, you're in here, you do 10 years of that. You're looking for some type of physical whatever. And I was just like, oh shit, man. Like, Fleece has a really sad story. That's it. That's what I'm leaving you guys with, is that Fleece Johnson shit fucking somehow turned into a...
Well, the more so there's a whole lot of depth to everything that you take in. Like, even the entertainment that seems mindless, there's always some sort of story behind it that you really need to deep dive into. It really is that deep. When y'all say it ain't that deep, it is that deep. Everything is.
Some of the shit y'all be saying is trash.
Some of that shit y'all say is trash.
Some of that shit ain't that deep. But I'm not gonna hold you. But
It's not that deep, but that's the depth of it because you don't realize the real layers of it.
well,
How little you recognize is how deep it is because that's how sad your perspective really is.
with that said, we're back, fuckers, and thanks for listening. Thanks for waiting, and thanks for some of y'all who actually missed us. I ain't got 1,000, but I got a couple messages like, "Hey, nigga, like we see all these motherfucking posts and memes and shit. And that's cute, but where the fuck the funny?
Y'all ain't talking.
Yeah, where the fuck the shit at? So
Where the conversation at? We'll talk about that another day.
So I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all.
Thank y'all for checking in. Thank y'all for caring about us. Appreciate
Like,
y'all.
follow, subscribe, fucking tell your mom and them.
Yeah, after a break and we come back, I don't want that same bullshit that was going on
I want
a
this.
month ago.
Yeah, I want this shit jumping. I want y'all to come in here and
Come talk to us, give us feedback, send us fucking questions and scenarios that we can laugh and discuss and deep dive into like y'all do them niggas over in the UK.
Okay, and also and I'm gonna give it to you. We did this question thing before, so I'm gonna say it here. So I'm gonna try to be more focused about it because if I say it, I got to do it. So we're gonna a little more formula to give y'all. Hey, this is your opportunity to tell us some shit, and that's it. So participate.
God damn it.
All right.
Sure. And my plants come back to life.
Got spinach in his house. Came in his house.
Hey, this one came back to life in the span of an hour, so leave me alone.
You gotta get.
Yeah, this it's all right.
You gotta wake your
Hey,
ass up.
it's all right. It's all right. He gonna get there. We gonna work on him.
All right.
We'll
Bye,
see
y'all.
y'all next episode.